On behalf of Bestway Tours and Safaris, I would like to welcome you to today's webinar. My name is Peter Langer, and I'm a destination and marketing education specialist for Bestway Tours and Safaris, also the executive producer of The Ultimate Traveler and a panelist of the National Geographic Center for Sustainable Destinations. Today, we are going to explore the highlights of Turkey tour. Bestway Tours and Safaris has been operating small group cultural journeys since 1978 to over 100 countries. We have organized specialized tours for a number of universities, museums, and other institutions. We have also created a specialized division which is called World Heritage Tours. Today we are going to talk about Turkey. First, a few generalities about Turkey. Turkey occupies 783,562 square kilometers. The country is unique in terms it spans two continents, Europe and Asia, which are actually separated by the Bosporus. Turkey is home to the sources of rivers such as the Euphrates, the Tigris, and the Aras. Its population amounts to approximately 75.5 million inhabitants. Turkey's capital is the city of Ankara, and its largest city is Istanbul. The official language is Turkish, and the currency is the Turkish lira. There are many reasons to go to Turkey, simply because Turkey is strategically located on the Fertile Crescent. In the time of antiquity, from Göbekli 10,000 before the Common Era to roughly the Byzantine Empire, the country was occupied by a number of kingdoms, empires, and was fundamental in the history of antiquity. After the fall of the Roman Empire or the partition of the Roman Empire, Turkey was the home of the Byzantine Empire from 324 to 1453, which is actually the largest lasting empire in the history of mankind. At the fall of the Byzantine Empire came the Ottoman Empire, which lasted approximately 400 years. It all fell apart with the First World War, and as a result, the modern Republic of Turkey was founded in 1923. What we are highlighting today is the Highlights of Turkey tour. This is a special tour which Bestway Tours and Safaris has crafted with airfare in mind. We are now going to go on a day-by-day itinerary. On the first day, our clients will be flying from Vancouver to London Heathrow on British Airways. Of course, as we're crossing the Atlantic, we are changing planes in London and immediately flying on to Istanbul, where our clients get to stay at the Titanic City Hotel at Taksim Center, a lovely four-star property, centrally located, and our clients then get a rest that evening. And the next day, we start to explore Istanbul. Istanbul, or previously known as Constantinople, or previously known as Byzantium, is a city which has had an incredibly long history. And as a result of that, we will be doing an exploration of the historic areas of Istanbul, which are also registered by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site. We start by visiting a humongous church, which later became a mosque, and that is the Saint Sophia or Hagia Sophia, which is located very close to the Bosphorus. Here we will see magnificent Byzantine architecture, and many of the mosaics and the murals are still very visible. It's a magnificent building, and if you look at the people, for example, at the bottom, you can see how small the building, how small people are, and how magnificent the building in itself is. After our visit to the Hagia Sophia, we will take our passengers to the Hippodrome. Excuse me. At the time of the Byzantine Empire and the Eastern Roman Empire, horse races were very, very important, and there's a number of interesting architectural and sculptural works which are still, we can see the remainders. As the Ottomans also ruled Egypt, you will see a couple of obelisks right in the middle of the hippodrome. And from here we go to probably one of the most beautiful mosques in the world, the Blue Mosque, which is a magnificent building which was built during the reign of Suleiman the Magnificent in the 15th century. Its architecture is remarkable for all of its vaulted ceilings and particularly of its beautiful Islamic tilework. We then go to up on a hill which is strategically located over the Bosphorus and visit the Topkapi Palace. This palace was the palace of the Pashas, of the great sultans of Turkey, which ruled better part of Europe and practically the entire Middle East from about the 15th century until the 19th, beginning of the 20th century. Here you will see an incredible collection of art objects from jewelry to clothing to weaponry, and you will see the quarters, such as the harem, for example, which show you the magnificence of the Ottoman Empire in its heyday. Of course, no visit to Istanbul is complete without a visit to the Grand or Great Bazaar. Alleys built within this bazaar are filled with carpets, with oil lamps, with brass objects, with exotic spices. A nice little souvenir to bring back from Turkey, for example, are obviously Turkish delight, which is a wonderful sweet and doesn't cost very much. It's a lovely souvenir. Of course, you can get all these exotic kilims. They do ship them back home, so that's a good possibility to buy a carpet and not drag it around on the tour, but simply have it shipped to home. On the next day, it's a fairly long day. We actually drive from Istanbul to via Ankara to Cappadocia. We will be staying for a couple of nights at the Dilek Kaya Cave Hotel in Cappadocia. This is a hotel which is actually built into the mountain, into the caves with a wonderful swimming pool, and it's quite a romantic possibility. So, as I said, we are driving from Istanbul to Ankara. In Ankara, we will visit the Ataturk mausoleum. Kemal Ataturk is a national hero who basically founded the modern Republic of Turkey in 1923. After a picturesque stop at the Salt Lake, we will stop in Cappadocia. On our first day, on the fifth day in Cappadocia, we will take an early morning tour on a balloon. This is an option which I would highly suggest for clients to take. I have taken personally several of these balloon trips, and I would have to say that the one in Cappadocia is probably the most magnificent in terms of all the various things you see, and you get a good overview of these various buildings, churches, houses which are built into the mountains, into the so-called tufas. We obviously start then our tour of Cappadocia. We will take an excursion where we are going to the Kaymakli underground city. There was a number of cities. These were all Christian places. And what these troglodytes, and that's actually the proper word, did is when there were enemies invading, they would hide in the caves. So would be living normally in this village. Should there be marauding tribes, bandits, what have you, come, they would immediately hide in these caves and had gigantic rocks to seal them off. So maybe the town would be leveled, but eventually the population would survive. There's a whole network of these cave dwellings throughout Cappadocia. Also of great importance is the open air museum in Göreme. Here, what we see is inside these tufas. Tufa is how this Calcarean formation is called. People used to live here, but they also had churches inside. And some of these churches have some of the most beautiful paintings in the history of mankind. The whole thing, all of Cappadocia, the cultural and natural landscape, incidentally, is also an UNESCO World Heritage Site. We also go and visit the fortress of Uchisar, which is built once again into these various Calcarean formations. It's a lunar landscape which belongs to a science fiction movie. It's remarkable how these people lived. We conclude the day by taking our clients to certain souvenir shops where they can meet with the artisans and buy some absolutely beautiful blue Turkish ceramic, or perhaps go to a carpet weaving store and pick up a carpet or kilin in the hotel in there. On the next day, we are driving basically from Cappadocia via Konya to Pamukkale. In Pamukkale, we will be staying at the Lycos River Hotel. Lovely swimming pool, has also quite a good spa, as it is located in a spa area. Our first stop on that day is that we go to Sultan Ahan Caravanserai. A caravanserai is actually a stop along the many routes along the Silk Road. In Turkey alone, there are approximately 6,000 of these because they were a very important place for trading, for catching up with gossip. People did not only stop for a night, but usually they would stop for 3 or 4 days to refresh their camels, to sell merchandise or to get merchandise, and then continue on their journey. We stop on the way in the city of Konya. In Konya, we will stop at the 13th century Seleucid masterpiece. We will be visiting the mausoleum of Mevlana. This is a very important city in terms of the Sufi cult. These Sufi dervishes were great philosophers, and they're still great philosophers. You might have heard of Rumi. It's a Sufi work which gives you basically ideas on how to live life, how to enjoy life in the presence of God. So here we will stop, and this is also the town where the whirling dervishes did their performances. After that, then we arrive at our hotel in Pamukkale. We relax, and the next day we go from Pamukkale basically via Hierapolis, Selçuk into Kusadasi. In Kusadasi, we are going to stay at the Kaya Thermal Hotel, which is again a modern five-star property where we will be able to relax. The next day, after having stayed in this hotel, we will be traveling to Pamukkale. First, we are going to see all these Calcarean formations, which are flowing from one to the other. Then we will stop in Hierapolis. Hierapolis is an ancient spa, also an UNESCO World Heritage Site, where people in the ancient times, particularly in the Greco-Latin times, would go and find relaxation. Then we will visit the Artemis Temple of Selçuk. It's obviously here you have a graphic of how it must have looked in its day, and some of the masterpieces which are there. Obviously, nowadays with all the various earthquakes which occur in Turkey, and well, history takes its toll, so there's only some remains of the temple. We spent the night in the hotel, and on the eighth day, we'll visit the magnificent site of Ephesus. In its day, Ephesus was a very important port city in the Mediterranean. As a matter of fact, the Apostle Paul came to Ephesus, and that's when he came to the realization that he should be spreading Christianity throughout the entire Roman Empire. Ephesus was such an important city that you have a huge amphitheater, a number of avenues and colonnaded streets, and then probably the most famous building, which is the Library of Paracelsus. This building was actually completely in ruins and was rebuilt in the last century with help from the government of Austria. So the entire facade is completely rebuilt with all of its beautiful Doric capitals. So it's a remarkable place. Right after our visit to Ephesus, we will also take you to Syrinx. Syrinx is one of those most beautiful villages in Turkey which has retained its Ottoman architecture. Uh, what is so beautiful about this particular village is it still has its cobblestone streets. The buildings are usually in an Ottoman style, which belongs to the 19th century, but the entire urban landscape has been beautifully preserved. On the ninth day, we leave Kusadasi and we travel to Pergamon, Troy, and Canakkale. In Canakkale, so we're leaving from Kusadasi via Izmir all the way to Canakkale. We will be staying at the Colleen Hotel, again, a modern four-star property where people can relax at the end of the day. We really believe that it's important for our clients to relax and have a good rest in a good hotel of excellent quality after such a hectic touring schedule. First, to visit the Asclepion of Pergamon. This is also an UNESCO World Heritage Site. As a matter of fact, the Asclepion was a sort of a spa, but not really a spa. In many ways, it was the world's first psychiatric hospital. People who had all sorts of psychiatric problems would go to the Asclepion in search for a cure. Followed by that, that's also an UNESCO World Heritage Site, the same as the city of Troy. Troy, which was so well described by Homer in antiquity, was a place where all these various battles took place. At the same time, it was rumored to exist. It was completely lost to the world. And what happened is that a German archaeologist by the name of Heinrich Schliemann went to the city of Troy and did an excavation. When he started digging, he found several layers of older settlements until he came upon Troy, and there's a huge collection of objects and artifacts which belong to the actual time of Troy. Of course, the wooden horse is one of the clear things which we all remember Troy for. After our visit, we have rested in Canakkale, and from Canakkale on the 10th day, we will be traveling to Gallipoli and Istanbul. In Istanbul, we are going to stay at the Titanic Hotel Bayram Pasa, a five-star property with all the modern facilities. They have a wonderful swimming pool. It's perfect to rest before our return home. On the 10th day, we will be visiting Gallipoli. Gallipoli sadly came to fame when during the First World War. We visit various places, the Anzac Cove, Conch Bear, Neck, Lone Pine, and the 57th Regiment Memorial. Here, Australian and New Zealand troops were basically put into a slaughterhouse, which lasted for approximately a year, and after a failure and a complete massacre on both sides. And it stands as silent testimony to the war which just commenced 100 years ago. After paying our respects, we then continue on to Istanbul. And on the next day, on the 11th day, we fly from Istanbul via London back to Vancouver on British Airways. This particular tour has some special departures where we have negotiated also a special airfare. It will depart on the 6th of November of this year and on the 5th of March 2015. The cost is Canadian or US dollars $3,495 per person on twin sharing. It includes international airfare from Vancouver to Istanbul, and add-ons are available from other cities in Canada or the United States. The hotels, as we mentioned them, are included, as well as 16 meals, which are clearly indicated on the itinerary, which you can find on our website. All sightseeing and transfers by private transportation with English-speaking guides, entrance fees to museums and sites included in the itinerary. We offer many tours to Turkey. We also offer special interest tours. Archaeology, religion, or cuisine are some of our specialties. Women-only tours we also offer. This tour can easily be combined with tours to Egypt, Jordan, and the Holy Land. As a matter of fact, we have a tour which combines this one with a Best of Egypt tour in 17 days. Or we have the Three Continents tour, which is a cultural tour of Turkey, Greece, Israel, and Egypt in 16 days. And Turkey also forms part of our Jewels of Persia, which takes place on the Golden Eagle Danube Express train. Here we take a train from Hungary, Romania, via Romania, Bulgaria, and Turkey to Iran in 15 days. This journey also operates in the reverse direction. We also, and this is something I would like to focus and feature on, have an UNESCO World Heritage Tour of Turkey. World Heritage Tours is a specialized division of Bestway Tours, which has crafted artistically designed itineraries that feature cultural and natural heritage sites as they're inscribed in the World Heritage List of UNESCO. We offer these tours in Africa, the Americas, Asia, Europe, and the Middle East. In the particular case of Turkey, we include practically all of the 11 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. So, on the current tour, we have a few World Heritage Sites. This particular tour, which takes 18 days, covers all 11 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Incidentally, this year is Mount Nemrut, or Nemrut Dağ, as the Turks call it, which is in the central part of Anatolia in Turkey. The most important thing you have to keep in mind with Bestway Tours and Safaris, particularly when it comes to journeys to Turkey, is that we have many years of experience in customizing tour programs to suit your own areas of interest and also to adjust the dates. Ultimately, we are committed to providing you with superior quality travel at real value per dollar prices. The whole thing is that when you plan a trip with us, you will save time, money, and above all, hassle, because sometimes in these small little details is when all the problems arise. And that is something Bestway Tours and Safaris attempts to avoid. Now, the part you've all been waiting for. You have a chance to win a 4-day holiday in Istanbul. As you have completed the webinar, we would like to ask you 3 questions. Number 1. Name one UNESCO World Heritage Site that has been included in the Highlights of Turkey tour. Number 2. Name Turkey's capital. Number 3. Name 2 other countries that can be combined with a tour to Turkey organized by Bestway Tours and Safaris. Email your answers to education@bestway.com. The winner will be drawn from the correct answers received by November 25th, 2014, and will receive a 4-day land package in Istanbul for 2, including 3 nights in a 4-star hotel, daily breakfast, return transfers from the airport, and a city tour. We will be running this webinar again in the fall, so the great draw will be by the end of November of this year. I would like to also inform you that if you need detailed itinerary information, optional tours, additions, or need to customize a tour, you can visit our website www.bestway.com to get more ideas, or contact us directly. You may phone us in Vancouver at 604-264-7378, call us toll-free at 1-800-663-0844, or simply email us at bestway@bestway.com. Thank you for having attended today's webinar.